Good evening. I hereby call to order the Board of Directors meetings of the New Jersey Transit Corporation, New Jersey Transit Rail Operations Incorporation, New Jersey Transit Bus Operation Incorporation, New Jersey Transit Mercer Incorporated, and New Jersey Transit Morris Incorporated.
Good evening. Please mute your phones and turn your attention to the public safety announcement.
At New Jersey Transit, your safety is our highest priority. Please listen to these safety instructions in case of an emergency. In an emergency, announcements will be made over the loudspeaker or by a uniformed police officer. The primary exit for this location is the stairwell adjacent to the elevators, which can be located by exiting the boardroom and proceeding through the glass doors. There is a second alternate staircase that can be accessed through the door at the front of this room to the right behind the board dais. New Jersey Transit Police will administer CPR and use the defibrillator located near the elevator if necessary. Fire extinguishers are located in the front and back of this room. Please be guided by the directions of the New Jersey Transit Police and staff. As a reminder, members of the public are not permitted to approach the dais and should only share board meeting materials with New Jersey Transit staff at the reception desk. Thank you and have a safe day.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now take roll call. Board Member Brantes?
Here.
Board Member Brown? Here. Board Member Morocco?
Here.
Board Member Medina?
Here.
Board Member Nara?
Here.
Board Member Thomas?
Here.
Board Member Weiss?
Here.
Board Member Koenig?
Here.
Board Member Cruz?
Here.
Chair O'Connor.
Here.
For the record, board members Cruz, Koenig, Medina, Thomas, and Weiss are participating remotely. Vice Chair Carson is absent. This is a meeting of the New Jersey Transit Corporation and its affiliates and subsidiaries. Adequate notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and NJ Transit's enabling legislation. Notice was filed on February 7, 2024 with the Secretary of State and sent to newspapers of general distribution, posted in the main entrance of NJ Transit's headquarters, published on the corporation's website, and sent to each individual agency and organization that requested such notice.
Approval of the minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of December 12th, 2023 board meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Board Secretary, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Board Member Brantes?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Koenig?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carried.
President and CEO Corbett will present the President and CEO's monthly report.
Good evening, and thank you, Chair. And certainly, it is a good evening, and we're very pleased to welcome Acting NJDOT Commissioner and NJ Transit's new Board Chair, Fran O'Connor, who's joining us for the first time this evening. Fran, a real pleasure having you on board. For those who don't know, Fran is joining us with a wealth of experience in the transportation industry that spans 4 decades. He looks a lot younger, but it's true. Started when he was young, which includes 16 years in New Jersey as the head of New Jersey Turnpike. Also welcoming tonight, for the first time, board member Anthony Abrantes, who is also joining us the first time. And Anthony's currently serving as the Assistant Executive Secretary and Treasurer for the Eastern Atlantic. State Regional Council of Carpenters, representing approximately 43,000 union carpenters, many of whom I would like to note are currently working on NJ Transit's many advancing capital projects. So, Anthony, great to have you tonight as well, who is replacing outgoing board member Sangeeta Doshi, whose term recently expired. And we will be recognizing Sangeeta at our board meeting in April to thank her for outstanding service over the last 4 years. Fran, Anthony, thanks very much, and really all of us look forward to working with you. I'd like to begin this evening with a quick shout out to all the NJ Transit employees who have been out in the field, working around the clock today to maintain a full weekday schedule in certainly very challenging conditions, particularly up north. And I think they deserve our thanks and appreciation for the work they do today, but work they do every day to keep our state moving. As many of you are aware, transit agencies across the country are facing shortfalls in operating funding, and NJ Transit is no exception. While always the option of last resort, on January 24th, we announced a fare adjustment proposal for the first time since 2015 in order to address that shortfall in FY 2025, next year. And despite the hard work we did internally to identify $44 million in cost savings, an additional $54 million in revenue enhancements, we have proposed a 15% fare adjustment effective July 1st, 2024, to close the remaining budget gap of $106.6 million in fiscal year 2025. This proposal also includes subsequent annual system-wide increases of 3% starting on July 1st, 2025. Smaller annual adjustments are a longer-term solution that provides predictability for customers and NJ Transit and helps us keep pace with inflation and mandatory contractual cost escalations. We are offering a multitude of ways for customers to provide feedback on a proposal. We will be holding a series of 10 public hearings across the state where customers can share their feedback on the proposal in person during the first week of March. For those who are unable to attend one of the 10 public hearings, they can share their feedback for the record online via email or by postal mail. All feedback, regardless of whether to share it at a hearing, website, or email, will be reviewed, considered, and weighted equally by NJ Transit's Board of Directors before any final decisions are made. Customers seeking to provide feedback for the record can visit njtransit.com/hearing for all information related to the proposal. As we navigate through these financial challenges, it is equally important to highlight our operational successes, particularly as we continue to see incremental increases in ridership and continue to offer unparalleled service to key destinations like MetLife Stadium. The seamless transportation we provided to some of the biggest events at the stadium and biggest events in the nation, for that matter, has paid off big time for New Jersey and MetLife. By now, I think you all know, heard the news that MetLife Stadium will host the 2026 FIFA World Cup final, along with 7 additional World Cup matches. This announcement was a huge vote of confidence in New Jersey Transit, and we certainly are very excited. Simply put, we are going to ensure that this is the best World Cup ever. Clearly, transit was one of the key determining factors in what is a significant win for New Jersey and Governor Murphy. As the governor has said recently, NJ Transit knocked it out of the park this past summer on a series of blockbuster concerts featuring superstars like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, and Beyonce, in addition to sporting events like the Army-Navy game in 2021, which broke the MetLife college football attendance record with 82,282 fans attending. Not only are we confident that we will meet and exceed fan expectations for the 2026 World Cup, but we want everyone to know that the fan experience will begin as soon as you board NJ Transit train or bus. As prepared as we are today, our Secaucus Meadowlands Transitway project will allow us to further enhance capacity to and from New Jersey's premier sports, retail, and entertainment destination. We expect to complete the transitway design early in 25, and construction is anticipated to take approximately 12 months, and plenty of time for the first match at MetLife. While continuing to deliver seamless transportation for some of the country's biggest events at MetLife, we're looking to take that to a whole new level by incorporating global best practices for the 2026 World Cup. To help us get there, we are working with the International Association of Public Transport, the global equivalent of APTA, also known as UITP, along with Rutgers University Center for Advanced Infrastructure and Transportation, or Rutgers CATE, as is better known. With access to those leading the best public transit systems in the world, we will not only ensure that we're optimally prepared for the World Cup, but see how these short-term enhancements can provide long-term improvements that extend well beyond 2026. Speaking of MetLife Stadium, this Saturday and Sunday, hockey fans can skip the driving and park and parking by riding NJ Transit's MGM Meadowlands rail line to the NHL Stadium Series, which will mark the first ever Stadium Series games played at MetLife. This Saturday, NJ Transit will offer rail service to MetLife for fans to catch a Jonas Brothers performance before the Devils Flyers game and a Rangers Islanders game on Sunday. As an added bonus, NJT Rewards customers can redeem points in exchange for discounted tickets to the Devils Flyers game. Take advantage of this deal. Please visit njtrewards.com, but act fast as this offer will expire at 11:59 p.m. tonight. While we are hopeful that the World Cup and NHL Stadium Series will attract thousands of first-time riders to our system, we're also working to attract the next generation of riders through the reintroduction of our popular Student Pass discount. Beginning with February passes, both full-time and part-time degree students taking at least 2 courses are eligible to receive a 25% discount off the already discounted monthly pass at participating regional colleges and universities when purchased on the NJ Transit mobile app. As an added incentive, students using the Student Pass can receive additional savings during the spring semester thanks to the return of our buy 3 months, get 1 month free Student Pass promotion. Again, for details and a list of participating colleges and universities, please visit njtransit.com/studentpass. In addition to our Student Pass, we also hope to bring new riders to the system with the relaunch of our Sweetheart Deal for Valentine's Day week, allowing customers to receive a free round trip for a traveling companion with the purchase of a round trip ticket. From February 8th through February 19th, NJ Transit customers can use the promo code SWEETHEART24 in the NJ Transit mobile app to receive their buy 1, get 1 free round trip. Again, please visit njtransit.com/suite for more details. Beyond these promotions, we are always focused on improving accessibility and convenience for all our riders, exemplified by the expansion of our Access Links Riders' Choice program to 7 additional counties throughout the state. Beginning February 5th, Access Link customers in Region 4 and 6, which includes Mercer, Monmouth, Middlesex, North Ocean, Bergen, Passaic, and Hudson counties, have been able to opt in to receive their rides through Lyft or Black and White Taxi. Customers who do not opt in will continue to have their trip serviced by the current Access Link providers. As many of you know, we launched the Riders' Choice program last year in May, partnering with Uber and Lyft in Regions 2 and 5, which includes Essex, Morris, Union, Somerset, Burlington, Gloucester, and Salem counties. It has been very successful, and the customer feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, with many noting reduced wait time and trip time, and appreciation that there has been no change to Access Link prices. Since we launched the program, more than 4,600 Access Link accounts have opted in, and we have provided more than 176,000 rides through the program. I would also note that in addition to improving service and customer experience, this program is much more cost-effective for NJ Transit on a per-trip basis. Customers can visit njtransit.com/accessibility for more information. As we continue to enhance the customer experience and incentivize public transit use, we're also committed to training and preparing the next generation of transit professionals and leaders while promoting the adoption of the best industry practices nationally and internationally. Towards that end, we are proud to have been selected by UITP, both the first segment of UITP's prestigious Managers in Public Transport Diploma program, in close collaboration with Rutgers Kate. This 3-part international diploma course is an expert-level year-long program held in 3 different locations around the world: New Jersey, Sweden, and Hong Kong. NJ Transit will host the first module, Policy, Planning, Regulating, and Funding, from June 24th through June 26th. UITP has also released this year's course list for the North American Regional Training Center, located at the headquarters of Rutgers Kate, which was established last year in partnership with New Jersey Transit and Rutgers Kate. Again, for complete details on the diploma course, training courses, and registration links, please visit njtransit.com/UITP. Now, turning to infrastructure, in our goal to advance public transit and ensure its sustainability, we recognize the importance of not only training the next generation, but also making generational investments in critical infrastructure to support our operations. In alignment with this goal, we were very pleased that last week the FTA announced it had awarded NJ Transit a $75 million grant for the construction of a new rail maintenance of way facility in Clifton. The funds are part of the FTA's Public Transportation Emergency Relief Program. This new facility will replace an obsolete, flood-prone 70-year-old maintenance of way facility in Woodridge, which sustained extensive damage during Hurricane Ida in 2021. Positioned at a higher level, this new facility will enable us to better maintain and enhance our rail infrastructure, leading to improved and more reliable service for our customers The new facility will also be larger, allowing us to keep pace with the projected future expansion in maintenance ways operations and to meet the demand of New Jersey's growing population, along with our growing fleet of modern vehicles, particularly the multi-level 3 that start arriving later this year. To begin wrapping up for this evening, we do have some good news to share that validates and reinforces our many efforts over the past 6 years to build a culture of excellence, inclusiveness, and employee satisfaction. As many of you know, last year NJ Transit was recognized by Forbes as one of America's best in-state employers, marking the third consecutive year we had achieved that prestigious recognition. This year, NJ Transit has again been recognized by Forbes for the fourth consecutive year, but this time it's as one of the best employers in America. Today, NJ Transit was named by Forbes America's Best Employers List 2024, which was compiled through independent surveys from a sample of our 170,000 U.S. employees working for companies employing at least 1,000 people within the United States. NJ Transit ranked 178 of the top 600 largest employers nationwide and top 8 of all employers in the transportation and logistics industry. This distinction clearly positions NJ Transit as an employer of choice in our region and is a testament to the hard work, dedication, and commitment of so many in our organization over the past 6 years who helped us earn the recognition. I think one of the key reasons we continue to be recognized by organizations like Forbes and, of course, HAPTA is because they know we are deeply committed to our employees and to building a diverse and inclusive workforce that reflects New Jersey's incredible diversity. As part of this commitment, NJ Transit joins in celebrating February as Black History Month. And this year for Black History Month, we are pleased to unveil a new partnership with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield in partnership with our very own company Employee Resource Group, or Bridges, which stands for Building Resources for Inclusive Diversity, Guidance, and Equitable Standards. Working with Bridges and NJ Transit's marketing department, Horizon is generously sponsoring 1 locomotive and 2 bus wraps, allowing us literally to wrap our values around the vehicles that we serve in New Jersey every day. These wraps, a visual tribute to African American heritage, will be unveiled at an event planned later this month over at Newark Penn Station. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the 40th anniversary of NJ Transit's Senior Citizen Disabled Resident Transportation Advisory Committee, SCATRTAC, which was established in 1984 following the broader formation of NJ Transit in 1979. The committee has been advocating for its constituents for 4 decades, focusing on issues like paratransit funding, connectivity, and compliance with the Americans with Disability Act. Finally, I'd like to take a moment to present a well-deserved proclamation to New Jersey Transit Police Department Officer Mark Lloyd, whose action on a chilly evening last month at Newark Penn Station truly exemplifies the NJTPD's core values of honor, commitment, integrity, and courage. We learned about this incident through an email sent to NJTPD Chief Chris Trusillo from a mother of a young woman who found a guardian in Officer Lloyd at a moment when she was most vulnerable. This young woman was far from home and experienced a psychiatric episode, had the good fortune to be spotted by Officer Lloyd, who immediately secured vital medical information, contacted the necessary healthcare professionals, all while keeping her calm and safe. This young woman who was far from home and experienced a psychiatric episode had the good fortune to be spotted by Officer Lloyd, and he then remained by her side until the arrangements were made for her safe transport, and he displayed an unwavering dedication to duty. The young woman's mother, who herself is a physician and well-versed in psychiatric care, wrote, "I asked Officer Lloyd about his additional training in psychiatric emergencies. It was obvious to me that he not only had additional training, but was fully able to apply it." Said the woman's mother, "We have had emergencies with my daughter before, and no policeman has ever come close to showing the skill and compassion your officer did." She concluded by saying, "This office singularly restored my faith in humanity," highlighting how Officer Lloyd's action went beyond the call of duty, and his actions, she believed, saved her daughter's life. Tonight, we are fortunate to be joined by Officer Lloyd and our own police chief, Chris Trusillo. And if you just join me, gentlemen, at the front of the boardroom. I can read the. I'll read the. Mark, awesome. Thanks. I'll read the proclamation. Proclamation of honor for New Jersey Transit Police Department Officer Mark Lloyd. Whereas the New Jersey Transit Police Department is committed to ensuring the safety, security, and well-being of all individuals within our jurisdiction, and whereas Officer Mark Lloyd of the New Jersey Transit Police Department has exemplified the highest standard of law enforcement excellence, compassion, and professionalism in the performance of his duties. And whereas on the evening of January 12, 2024, Officer Lloyd encountered a young woman from Boston experienced acute psychiatric distress at Newark Penn Station. And whereas Officer Lloyd recognized the gravity of the situation and the urgent need for specialized care, utilizing his advanced training in such emergencies, was able to effectively communicate with her, ensuring her immediate safety and calming her distress. And whereas Officer Lloyd demonstrated exceptional diligence and resourcefulness in contacting the young woman's healthcare provider, thereby facilitating the necessary intervention and support. And whereas the young woman's mother shared her gratitude with NJTPD's Chief Chris Tasillo, where she credited Officer Lloyd's action with saving her daughter's life. And whereas Officer Lloyd's action on that night demonstrated not only his personal commitment to service, but reflects highly upon the broader mission of NJTPD's commitment to serve and protect. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors, the President and CEO, and the employees of NJ Trans express their sincere gratitude and heartfelt appreciation to Officer Mark Lloyd for his exemplary service, profound impact on the life of a young woman and her family, and his contribution to the noble cause of law enforcement. Signed by me. Mark. Ron, brother. Ben, want to come up? Yeah, it's a whole different nature of.
No, chief, please.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
That's an unusual way.
Thank you so much.
And with that, Chair, I conclude my report.
Thank you, and congratulations. Now, Anna Marie Ganello Rosado will present the Advisory Committee report.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, board members, and staff. Before I give a PAC report, the PAC would like to congratulate Mr. O'Connor on his appointment as acting New Jersey DOT Commissioner and as Chairman to the New Jersey Transit Board. We also want to congratulate and welcome Mr. Brandes on his appointment as member of the board. The PACs are here and willing to assist you in any way. We also want to thank the former chair, Diane Gutierrez Scachetti, and former board member Doshi for their service and commitment to New Jersey Transit and for listening and working with the PACs. The North and South PACs jointly and virtually met on February 9th. We received a presentation on the sustainability plan from Mark Sanzolo, Senior Director of Capital Planning, and updates on our federal and state legislation and local government affairs from Government and Community Relations. The PACs continue to provide letters of support for federal grant opportunities. I attended the 40th anniversary celebration of the Scatter Attack on January 22nd. And as CEO Corbett mentioned, Access Link customers have an opportunity to participate in Riders Choice Pilot Program, whereby customers can opt to receive rides from Lyft and Black and White Taxi or Uber and Lyft, depending on where you live. Details to opt into the programs can be found in newjerseystransit.com/accessibility. In partnership with MasterCard and New York City Tourism, New Jersey Transit customers receive up to $30 of MasterCard credits on New Jersey Transit services and meals during the New York City Restaurant Week, January 16th through February 4th. A popular student discount promotional program, buy 3 months, get 1 free, returned for the spring semester. In celebration of Valentine's Day and President's Day, New Jersey Transit is offering a sweetheart deal for a buy 1, get 1 free round trip from February 8th through the 19th. New Jersey Transit was selected to host the opening module for the International Association of Public Transport's Managers in Public Transport Diploma course. And Mr. Chair O'Connor, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public?
There are 7 in-person speakers and 10 pre-registered telephone speakers. Speakers, in order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Priority access will be given to pre-registered in-person speakers, followed by any additional in-person speakers. We will then take comments from pre-registered telephone speakers, followed by any additional telephone speakers queued to speak. Those participating by telephone, if you have not already done so, please press *1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. The first speaker is Jerry Keenan, followed by David Peter Allen.
Well, first of all, I want to say it's great to see you. Congratulations to the new chair, Fran O'Connor. We've known each other a long time, and it's great to see you. I also wanted to say hello to another friend, Anthony Abrantes. It's great to have you on the board here. It's so nice to be in a room with so many people that I know and I've worked with for so long a time. I'm really here just to really say kudos. I think New Jersey Transit has done just an absolutely wonderful job serving the state over the past many years. You take a look at, well, first let me get into who I am. My name is Jerry Keenan. I'm the president of the New Jersey Alliance for Action. The Alliance is a nonpartisan, nonprofit association dedicated to ensuring that the state is able to keep up with the needs of its residents as far as infrastructure goes. So we talk about working to get roads and bridges and rail and schools and hospitals and utilities, all of those things moving forward to make sure the economy continues to grow and New Jerseyans and their businesses have a tremendous quality of life. So that is really our membership breaks down into business, labor, government, municipalities, 12 county chapters we have, it's a very, very diverse group of members, and we really represent the greater good of New Jersey. So let me get back again to talking about how great New Jersey Transit has done over the past 6 years, something that's very, very important to us. In 2017, New Jersey Transit had a $60 million capital program, which was just peanuts. It just was not enough to take care of what we needed from New Jersey Transit. What we've seen since then is a true rebirth at New Jersey Transit, a total transformation in what the agency has been able to do. You have, since 2017, you have $6 billion in projects moving forward in capital dollars, and you also have another $8 billion to come out in the next 3 years. It's a tremendous achievement, this only happens with tremendous leadership, and fortunately with Kevin Corbett, our president and CEO, and our former chair, Diane Gutierrez-Gichetti, just a fantastic job. I did want to point out, and Kevin, the president, did mention FIFA. You know, we're getting 7 World Cup games plus the championship. That doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen if you don't have a first-rate, professional, and high-quality transit system. So that's really a feather in New Jersey Transit's cap. So I'm really glad to see that. And then finally, you talked about kicking butt. New Jersey Transit just recognized, I wrote this down because I wanted to make sure I got it right, 4 of the top 10 cities in the nation with the best public transit are served by New Jersey Transit. That's incredible. It also connects the largest and the 6th largest cities in the nation. So I'm just here to say it's great to see what's been happening over the past several years with this great leadership. The Alliance for Action is right here to work with you and to help the good times continue. So you call on us if you need something. We're ready to work with you. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is David Peter Allen, followed by Doug O'Malley.
Thank you. Before I begin my report, thanks to Mr. Corbett for the kind mention of Scattertack, and that goes for Anna Marie, my counterpart at the other advisory committee. And we know the riders at Access like the Riders' Choice program, so we hope the expansion goes well. Good evening. I'm David Peter Allen, Chair of ScatterTAC, the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Advisory Committee. I am pleased to report to you that on January 22nd, our committee commemorated 40 years of service to New Jersey Transit's seniors and riders with disabilities. We were established under the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Assistance Act of 1983, which took effect on January 17, 1984, and also established the ScatterTAP grant program for the county-level transportation providers, which remains an important part of our statutory purview. Our most important accomplishment of the past year was reaching an agreement with senior management at NJ Transit that preserves our historically recognized broad scope of concern, as we can also address issues like funding, connectivity, accessibility, ADA access, and Access Link. At our commemorative meeting, we were honored with a visit from Kevin Corbett, the head of New Jersey Transit. He called on us to look beyond the letter of the statute to its spirit, and in service to our constituents, we assure him and everybody else that we will continue to do just that. We were also honored to hear from Paul Wyckoff, Chief of Government and External Affairs, whose fairness and professionalism has always been exemplary. Our meeting was a great event, and we thank Janelle Rivera, Lisa Tully, Isabel Rojas, and Adriana Lewis from local program support for putting it together. Most of our members came in person, and many past and present managers were there too, including Board Secretary Megan Clark-Umukoro and Gregory Woods, the head of Light Rail. Paul Aronson, State Ombudsman for Persons with Intellectual Disabilities, was there too, and longtime Director of Local Program Support, Bob Costa, appeared on a video. Anna Marie Ganella Rosado, who you just heard from, the chair of the South Jersey Advisory Committee, made some remarks, and Jack Dean, Senior Director of Research and Community Services, spoke for management after I delivered the keynote address. Our commemorative meeting was a congenial and positive event that we will always remember. While we understand that there are still some unresolved issues between our committee and management, we also hope that the positive event last month will bring about a mutually satisfactory resolution of all these issues that will result in improved mobility for our constituents. In the meantime, we are starting a County Services Subcommittee to facilitate discussions with county providers and an administrative subcommittee to deal with administrative matters between meetings and free up our limited meeting time. Our membership committee is reviewing applications from candidates to replace members who died or left our committee recently. As we observe 40 years of service to our constituents, we look forward to many more years of even more effective service, as well as a mutually constructive cooperation between our committee and management at New Jersey Transit and the affiliated providers, with the overarching goal of improving mobility for the New Jerseyans and visitors to our state who need it the most. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Doug O'Malley, followed by Zoe Baldwin.
Good evening on the snow day. My name is Doug, D-O-U-G, O'Malley, O''M-A-L-L-E-Y. I serve as the Director of Environment New Jersey. We represent more than 80,000 citizen members and activists across this great state. I wanted to start off, obviously, thanking members of the board and President Corbett, but by stating clearly that you're going to hear from strap hangers tonight, you're going to hear from strap hangers in the weeks to come, that, as the great Yogi said, this is deja vu all over again, because New Jersey Transit is once again asking its own riders to balance the budget on their backs and not looking at the broader need to provide a dedicated funding solution for New Jersey Transit. This is an issue not only for this board, but for the governor and the legislature to solve, not on some other time, but to solve now, because we know that New Jersey Transit needs more funding. This fare hike ultimately is a vanity fare hike because it does not solve the yawning fiscal cliff that is upon us. And obviously, if we are looking at all the options on the table, all the options are not on the table right now. And ultimately, this moment is a moment of crisis for New Jersey Transit. We've seen throughout the years that New Jersey Transit has existed. When you raise fares, you lose riders. Sometimes it takes years to get those riders back. In terms of the fare hike that's in front of this board, there are ways to make this process more equitable. First, getting rid of the flex pass is a gut punch for commuters that are relying on flex pass. Let it be reminded that off-peak fares, which are gutted by Governor Christie, that those also still are not back after 15 years. We don't want to see flex pass become a history item. Second, we need to have graduated fare hikes for bus riders compared to transit riders into New York. You're basically telling white-collar commuters into Manhattan they're going to pay the same as people catching the bus right here in this great city. Third, you need to make sure that you're going to hear from members of the public virtually. You're also going to be in the same room for fare hikes on Friday night, March 8th. There's no reason why you can't have a virtual hearing, not only on Friday night, March 8th, but at all these hearings. Yes, there's a public portal. You want to hear from the public. You want to hear from strap hangers. Make it virtual. And then finally, there should not be a stealth fare hike that's involved in this proposal for a 3% annual increase. If we had a 3% annual increase in 2015, the fare hike would be much bigger. So don't sock it to riders. I also want to highlight here that we need to fund New Jersey Transit and create equity and go where the money is. And right now, there's too much equity for drivers. There's a $6.3 billion plan for the Newark Bay Bridge, a planning process for $150 million. That is an unneeded project. New Jersey Transit relies on money from the Turnpike Authority. There's an MOU that is in place that had $300 million in FY23. There's no reason why we can't have increased money from the Turnpike Authority and in the state budget, which is down $300 million. So this is a crisis, and it's time for the governor and the legislature to solve this so we're not socking it to riders. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Zoe Baldwin, followed by John Richmond.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak today. My name is Zoe Baldwin. I'm the New Jersey Director for the Regional Plan Association. And in addition to thanking you for allowing members of the audience this time to speak, I also wanted to say thank you so much for maintaining our system and running our rail and bus on a budget that is far below your needs. That's actually why myself and others have come out today, is to make a plea that this board do whatever it can to urge the governor and the legislature to do what riders and experts have been asking for years and provide an ample and dedicated funding source for this agency's operations. Trenton's consistent refusal to adequately fund the agency means that once again we're asking riders to foot the bill. And state support isn't only anemic, it's below its own benchmark. FY20 was we were going in the right direction, the pandemic hit, and we never recovered, and you never recovered. And we need to make sure that we're making this system whole. 15% all at once is far too much, especially when it's compounded for many riders with the loss of the FlexPass program. So that in effect, makes their increases much higher. Additionally, even Governor Christie saw the inequity in imposing the same rate on local bus, as my colleague Doug just mentioned, which has a much lower median income than Trans-Hudson bus. I think Senator Oraho, or former Senator Oraho, put it really well. Why am I going to have the same increase taking a bus to Morgan Stanley as the guy taking a bus to the local ShopRite? And finally, 3% a year is pretty off base. RPA actually does support small and incremental, predictable increases in fares, but 3% is well above the average increase in pay proportionately, especially again when we're talking about bus riders. And so I really urge the board to consider looking at that differential. We need the state to come to the table with money, and having this policy advance, again, before the state matches even its own benchmark is completely unacceptable. And I want to echo also what my colleague Jerry said. I, for almost 6 years, represented the infrastructure construction industry, and we all remember the $60 million a year. That was terrible, and that's one of the most improved things that this agency has done under this administration, is you've done a 180 on the capital plan, and that is incredible, and it directly improves customer experience. But if we're going to keep going along on this shoestring budget, you're going to erase all of that progress. And so that's, again, just remember that, you're here basically stewarding our state's most powerful economic engine and protecting the riders that rely on it every day. And I just hope that there is some room as members of the board to do what you can to see what room there is to discuss this with the administration, because we really need to get this back on track. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is John Richmond, followed by David Pringle.
Good evening. My name is John Richmond. I'm on the steering committee of Empower New Jersey. The proposed 15% fare increase, with annual increases thereafter, has been met with understandable fury. Riders are being asked to pay more for less, with middle income and low income people feeling the most pain. And the fare increase will not even fix NJ Transit's underlying problem, the fiscal cliff that it faces in fiscal year 2026. Simply put, NJ Transit is in crisis, and it doesn't have to be this way. There needs to be dedicated funding to NJ Transit, and you as board members need to speak up about this. And there is also a simple fix to basically rolling back the proposed fare increase this year. Instead of spending $10.7 billion on a turnpike expansion project that's unneeded, unwanted, unpopular, and that will be an economic and environmental disaster, that money can go towards fixing NJT. Just this year, the NJ Turnpike Authority is planning to spend $109 million on design work for this unpopular turnpike. If that money was repurposed to new NJ Transit, there would not be a need for fare increase this year. So please, step up for NJ Transit riders. Pass a resolution that says, no, that turnpike money should go to your agency so that there's not a fare increase this year. You have a voice, you're not spectators here. So finally, before going, I do have a question for new Chair O'Connor. Congratulations on your appointment, but I do have a question. In the announcement of your nomination, it indicated that your sole background was in highways and toll collection. Can you tell us what expertise or experience you've had in public transportation?
Sir, I'm just going to reiterate for the board, this is the comment period. The board will have the opportunity to comment at the close of all the public comments. We want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak.
Well, that's fine. If you could, we would most appreciate if you could address it. I think the public and everyone sort of, given how important a role you have, and in protecting the interests of strap hangers, we need to know sort of what experience you've had that you bring to the board. So I'm looking forward to those answers at the end of the public comment here. Period. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is David Pringle, followed by Alex Ambrose.
Thank you. My name is David Pringle, Cranford, New Jersey resident representing Clean Water Action. I'm also on the steering committee of Empower New Jersey. My family and I are regularly transit riders. In fact, one of us is a trifecta, Raritan, New Jersey Transit's Raritan Valley Line, Port Authority's Path, and MTA Subway, every day. Here to urge you to stop the your proposal for a 15% fare hike. That also eliminates the flex pass. It unfairly burdens low and middle income riders, and it increases carbon and co-pollutant emissions by putting more cars on the road and doing so unnecessarily. I think I live in a different universe than the speaker from the Alliance for Action. I think he has glasses entirely full. I can't imagine that you all think that everything is perfect at transit and there's nothing to be done and we can all go home. Whether you think it's half full or half empty, I think it's very clear there's a hole at the bottom and it's getting worse. We're in crisis. You have an operating deficit. You got $1 billion fiscal cliff, almost $1 billion fiscal cliff coming. You're continuing for for over a decade now to raid your capital budget to fund operating. And your major capital projects are woefully underfunded. The electrifying the bus and rail systems, that effort dwarfs in comparison to the need given the climate emergency we face. The four most independent and newest board members were pushed off this board because they're wasting their time. You know, you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on an office move when you're having this fiscal cliff. It took you 3, 4, 5 years to do what we provided you the information to 4, 5, 3 years ago, that there were better resiliency projects in transit grid, and it wasn't even needed because the upgrades to the grid were happening. A lot of these problems, you know, come down to money, and we know that you have very limited. You know, it's a much bigger problem than you have to solve. As Mr. O'Malley pointed out, you know, to say the least, the state and the government needs to do a heck of a lot more. But who better to advocate for you than you? If you're not saying you desperately need funding, if you aren't saying it's ridiculous that you're raiding capital to fund operating, you know, we're going to do it. But you should be allies of ours, not sitting on your hands. And you know, no offense to the newest commissioner and the acting chair, but you know, there is no debate in this board. There is no discussion. There's no, you know, you're not advocating. I don't know why you're here, because I hope it's not to build your resume. You're not getting paid. I know you don't want to waste your time. Be advocates and have a virtual hearing. It doesn't have to be at the same time as this hearing. DEP does virtual only hearings. You can have a mix. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Alex Ambrose, followed by the telephone speakers.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Alex Ambrose, and I'm a policy analyst with New Jersey Policy Perspective. I'm here today to ask you to stand up for riders and refuse to cut service or raise fares, both of which will have devastating financial consequences for commuters and our state's lowest income families. NJ Transit is the backbone of our economy. Millions of New Jerseyans rely on it to get to their jobs, to school, to run errands, to come to hearings like this, and much more. This fare hike, however, is not the solution. We need to be incentivizing more people to take transit, and we will not do that here. We need to make our state safer and meet our emissions reductions goals. It's no secret that NJ Transit is still suffering under the budget cuts made years ago. But imposing a double-digit fare hike at the last minute is a band-aid solution to a structural problem. It's the equivalent of sticking our finger in the dam. It may stem the leak for now, but at some point, we are going to need to fix the dam itself. That means lawmakers finding the political will to finally identify a sufficient funding source for NJ Transit, ending our reign as the biggest transit agency in the country without dedicated funding in statute. My recommendations for NJ Transit: first, refuse fare hikes and service cuts until the state agrees to increase the state subsidy. NJ Transit is a public service that should not have to subsist on its own customer-generated revenue. To close a fiscal gap on the backs of riders, just weeks after lawmakers gave the wealthiest corporations in the country a major tax cut, is the height of inequity. Increasing the subsidy to cover this year's gaps will still not even come close to how much the state was spending in fiscal year 2020 and 21. Second, offer a virtual option for the fare hike public hearing. This would send a message to people who are not able to attend in person that their feedback is just as valuable as those who are. Third, reverse the proposals to get rid of FlexPass and to impose a 30-day expiration on one-way tickets. We have not seen sufficient evidence that this proposal will make a substantial difference in the budget, but this will create huge financial implications for everyday working-class New Jerseyans. Fourth, commit to holding hearings on any future increases in perpetuity. Whether or not it is legal should not be the question. It is simply the right thing to do to ensure the people most affected by this proposal have their voices heard. Finally, we call on legislators and Governor Murphy to reinstate the corporate business tax surcharge to create a dedicated funding source for NJ Transit. This is a modest tax on only the top 2% of corporations that operate in New Jersey, like Amazon and Walmart. New York MTA was able to avoid drastic service cuts and fare hikes by raising taxes on big businesses. There's no reason we cannot do the same. We keep hearing Governor Murphy say that New Jersey is more affordable than ever. We ask, affordable for who? Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, please open the floor to public comments by telephone participants, beginning with those who pre-registered to speak.
Certainly. And as a reminder, if you have not done so already, please press *1 on your telephone keypad to enter the queue to speak. You will hear a brief tone to indicate you have successfully entered the queue. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes for their public comment. A warning will be provided with 1 minute remaining and again with 15 seconds remaining. There are 19 speakers in queue, and the next public comment is coming from Matt Smith. Matt, your line is live and your time will begin now. Matt Smith, if you're there, your line has been opened. Please proceed.
Good evening. My name is Matt Smith. I am the New Jersey Director for Food and Water Watch, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of our 70,000 members and supporters across the state. Thank you, New Jersey Transit, for the opportunity to speak this evening. Congratulations, Chair, on your appointment. I have a few quick points and then a question that I don't expect to be answered during public comment, but would very much appreciate, and our members would very much appreciate an answer at Transit's earliest convenience. First of all, I just want to echo comments around the unjust nature of the 15% fare hike. While our state is still reeling from the impacts of hyperinflation and rising costs of living in so many areas, the idea that New Jersey Transit's fiscal woes that have been engineered by lawmakers should be paid for disproportionately by the families and working people who can least afford it is completely unjust and goes against really all of the principles of what a good public transit system, how a good public transit system should be managed. So we urge New Jersey Transit to advocate for this dedicated source of funding that we need. And I want to echo, the comments made to look at the elephant in the room, and that is the massive, unnecessary, polluting, and widely unpopular Turnpike expansion project as an obvious source of funding, and also advocate for the reinstatement of the corporate business tax. Clearly, the state's most profitable corporations don't need any more tax breaks, and that money could be used to support, a dedicated source of funding for New Jersey Transit and not put this rate hike on the backs of working people. I want to thank the board for after 5 years for the announcement that the Transit Grid project is canceled. As the speaker before me said, we believe that it should have been canceled sooner. I also want to point out that advocates were right in saying that the funding for the project could be reallocated to other resiliency projects, despite claims from the former chair to the contrary. I think this points to the need for increased transparency and working with advocates and not against. And the question I have is related to Transit Grid projects. How did New Jersey Transit conclude that due to PSE&G's Energy Strong program, the Transit Grid power plant was no longer a priority? We would love to see the analysis that demonstrated that. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Andy Weiss. Andy, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening. The NJ Transit Board is violating our First Amendment rights. NJ Transit must set up a virtual public comment option using Zoom or Microsoft Teams for remote public comments at the fare increase hearings in March. The NJ Transit Board is censoring and suppressing our public comments by deliberately removing the virtual public comment setup for the fare increase hearings. The NJ Transit Board never hired a customer advocate, and now they are denying virtual public comments for the fare increase hearings. The lies, deception, and cruelty never ends with the NJ Transit Board. The Democrats talk about democracy all the time while they suppress and censor public comments. Democrats are the censorship party. The Murphy administration has been very cruel to NJ Transit riders. The Democrats are an anti-public transit party. Stop lying to NJ Transit riders. Stop abusing NJ Transit riders. We need virtual hearings for the fare increase meetings. Last comment is the NJ Transit Board needs to give us monthly updates about the Hudson-Bergen light rail extension to Bergen County. NJ Transit has gone 25 years without extending the Hudson-Bergen light rail to Bergen County, and that is disgusting and unacceptable. It is such a major failure. Shame on you. We have nobody is in it. NJ Transit has not been expanded in years. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Paula Rogovin. Paula, your line is live, and your time will begin now.
Hi, I'm Paula Rogovin from the Don't Gas to Meadowlands Coalition. I strongly believe that raising the fares for public transportation is a sign of moral bankruptcy. The proposed fare hike is wrong. A fare hike could spell a lot of suffering for working people. I urge any member of the board who really cares about affordable public transportation, and I'm sure some of you really do care, to publicly oppose a fare hike, even if it means you get thrown off the Board of Commissioners. That seems to happen when people speak out. But if you do speak out, your conscience will be clear. I urge you to send a statement to the DOT and Governor Murphy in opposition to highway expansion and fare hikes. The Don't Gas to Meadowlands members have spoken out for years against highway expansion, which will increase pollution in environmental justice communities. We have joined in the call of others to transfer the $10.7 billion for highway expansion to use for rail and bus transportation. In addition, the state legislature and Governor Murphy must pass legislation to keep New Jersey transit fares stable, to call for a corporate business tax, and to provide dedicated New Jersey transit funding. On the gas plant, many thousands of New Jersey residents are thrilled that New Jersey Transit has finally decided to abandon their proposed dirty gas power plant, which would have polluted Kearney and nearby communities, which are already overburdened by health impacts of pollution. New Jersey Transit spent millions of public dollars on the gas plant proposal, millions to bidders, millions to companies and to staff. They could have used the talent and the money to move rail and bus transportation forward toward a clean, healthy, less expensive renewable energy future. We're disappointed in the extreme lack of ethics and morality of New Jersey Transit administrators. Despite Strategen's in-depth analysis of the impacts of pollution and the over 4 years of testimony by the public about health and climate concerns, despite resolutions by cities and towns and reports by healthcare providers and scientists, concerns about public health and climate played no part in their decision to abandon the gas plant. So again, I'm so thankful to all of the people in the public who played a role in protesting this dirty gas plant, and we're so glad that it has been abandoned. And if the representative from Governor Murphy is listening, please, we do not want the PVSC power plant in nearby Ironbound of Newark. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Elizabeth Nadoy. Elizabeth, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. My name is Liz Nadoy. I'm a resident of Hoboken and a member of MoveOn.org. New Jersey Transit, your proposed fare hikes will not make up for your budget gap. What they will do is place an unfair financial burden on your riders, many of whom cannot afford the fare increases on this essential transportation service. Many of your riders are dependent on your train, light rail, and bus service to get to and from work, school, medical care, and shopping. Raising fares seriously impinges on how people conduct their lives and protect their health. In short, it limits their financial stability and fractures their lives if you raise the fares. There is a solution to your financial woes, however, that is not only simple, but that is egalitarian, socially just, and environmentally sound. Tell Governor Murphy to stop the ill-advised Turnpike expansion project. It will emit tons of methane, CO2, and particulate matter. It will displace residents, close schools, and sicken thousands of residents in Hudson, Essex, and Union counties with air pollution-related diseases, many of whom make up your most loyal ridership. Use the billions of dollars earmarked for the deadly Turnpike expansion to improve your rails, trains, and bus services, rather than creating the unwise and unwanted, highly polluting Turnpike expansion. Use the money to electrify the transportation system of New Jersey, become known as leaders in clean, cheap, efficient transportation services, rather than enablers of the perpetuation of New Jersey's infamous cancer corridor from Newark Airport to the entrance to the Holland Tunnel. You made the right green choice to stop the power plant in Kearney, albeit it took you so long to do so. I ask that you now stop the Turnpike expansion and use those dollars instead of increasing fares and burdening your already overburdened riders. Revitalize, reimagine, and green our transportation system in an affordable, equitable, and efficient way. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Michelle Tyler. Michelle, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. My name's Michelle Tyler. I am a resident with my family of 5 in Glenrock. We moved to New Jersey 6 years ago from London, and listening to the opening statement tonight, I found it amusing that it was comparing NJ Transit to world-class public transport, because I feel like I must be living in the Twilight Zone, if that's what you think. It is beyond antiquated, it's unreliable, it's slow, it's infrequent, and my whole family uses the service in disgust almost every day. My daughter she's a student in the city and she catches a train at great expense. I also find it quite funny that you're talking about students getting a 25% discount when you're going to raise the prices by 15%, which is effectively giving them a 10% discount, which is already a lot of money to a student who is going to school full time. My husband commutes to work on the train as well, and I use the train less frequently, but I still have a lot of experience of being on a train when it's broken down, and I've been sitting in a stopped train at a station in the middle of my journey and then expected to get out and get an Uber to complete my journey. It's laughable, really. The money that you need to spend to electrify and upgrade this system is the $10.7 billion that you're spending on expanding roads and effectively putting more cars out there during the environmental and climate collapse that we're living through. It's like so many callers and people that have spoken before me have pointed out that it makes absolutely no sense to spend our taxes on
1 minute remaining.
On going through with that expansion when that money could go to better use, encouraging people to get out of their cars and take this amazing, up to the minute, beautiful electric, brand new trains that are fast and frequent and don't cost an absolute fortune. I'm really happy that people who go to MetLife Stadium get a great service, but I'd like to meet one of those people because I don't know who they are, and I personally don't ever go to MetLife Stadium, so it doesn't really affect me. But yeah, I think you could do a lot better. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Sean Mohan. Sean, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening. This is Sean Nolan from Tri-County Sustainability in South Jersey. Thank you to the Board of Directors for the opportunity to speak tonight. Congratulations to all the newly appointed members, and thanks as always to all of the men and women who work at New Jersey Transit. Also, thank you for scheduling a public hearing on the proposed fare hike on March 4th at 11 a.m. at the Cherry Hill Library. So far, unfortunately, literally none of our hundreds of members have confirmed that they're able to attend that in-person meeting. Like everyone else, we strongly urge the board to consider adding several virtual meetings over the coming weeks to accommodate the varying schedules of our South Jersey community. Heck, if it wouldn't help, you can even borrow our Zoom account. We appreciate the work of this board. Thanks again.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Adam Reich. Adam, your line is live and your time will begin now.
First of all, Board Member Nara, any update on the customer advocate? If the reports I've been hearing are accurate, that it's really continues to somehow be a struggle to find an advocate, even though a number of agencies seem to have been doing this without issue for years, why is it then that we can't do something on the Customer Advisory Board that was promised 4 years ago? What would it take to get Paul Wyckoff or someone from management or a representative from the board to meet with the advocates who were promised a meeting 4 years ago after going through an application process and putting in energy and time into a cause they believed in? My main topic tonight is on the proposed fare hikes. The lack of a virtual option for the hearings is completely unacceptable. I'd like to point out that a number of members of the board are participating remotely tonight. Right? It's great to be able to participate, even though some of you have other commitments or considerations that preclude you from attending tonight's meeting in person, isn't it? Why not offer the same courtesy to your riders with the fare hike hearings? Why not offer at least one virtual option? In particular, somebody on the board, please explain, or get a manager to explain, why is it the March 8th hearing that's being held in this very room, where clearly the infrastructure is in place for virtual participation, we cannot provide a virtual option, or more accurately, are unwilling to provide that. I would stress that even if the assertion is correct, that the board will weigh all comments equally, whether in writing or in person, it doesn't account for the value of being able to listen into and participate in a hearing live, right? Hearing other commenters makes my comment to you more informed. Being heard means something as a writer. Often, Board Member Nara, I will stress, has been great, where if I ask a question live, he is very good in helping to get a response. There's a lot to be said for that doesn't necessarily come through in the same way with written remarks. If Governor Murphy is committed to hearing from riders, why not offer a virtual option? I would stress, again, somebody please explain in particular why the March 8th hearing, at the very least, cannot offer a virtual option. Again, it's about being heard. It's about hearing other riders in the moment. I would stress that for those of us in high-risk categories like myself, we cannot physically attend a meeting unless you're going to provide one with a universal masking requirement, which I doubt you will. So again, if the MTA can hold virtual option fare hike hearings, if you can hold provide virtual options for your other meetings, why not do the same here unless you don't want to hear from your rights? My challenge to the board, to the chair if no one else will speak, defend this. Have the courage, if there's really a compelling reason why against this backdrop you can't offer a virtual option, please explain that, particularly as it relates to March 8th. If you can't do that, then don't pretend otherwise. Don't at least have the courage to defend, either stand up for riders or defend this ridiculous notion of in-person only.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Emmanuel Morgan. Emmanuel, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Morgan, and I am the Executive Director of Hudson County Complete Streets, as well as a resident of Jersey City. I want to start by thanking the New Jersey Transit Board for recent service improvements in my neighborhood. Service was increased on the 119. Ridership has increased by 52%. It is no secret that more than 50% of Hudson County residents rely on public transit to commute to work, and that nearly 40% of households do not have access to a motor vehicle. However, I'd like to address my next comments to the new chair. Mr. O'Connor, transit represents one of the greatest hopes that New Jersey has for mitigating the climate crisis and achieving carbon neutrality goals. The transportation sector represents the largest contributor to climate change, and electric vehicles are not a real or equitable solution. We need to improve, increase, and incentivize the use of NJ Transit service, and I'm concerned that raising fares won't help us reach those goals. Although I can now count on a bus to come within a few minutes of my arriving at the bus stop, I am still looking for better, cleaner, more efficient, and importantly, clean air buses. This is what riders get in cities around the world, from New York to, as the speaker commented before, London, Paris, Barcelona, and this is what New Jersey riders deserve too. I am already paying $6 to reach New York City in addition to transfer costs to the MTA. Raising this fare is unthinkable without improvements in service. Our state public transportation system is becoming increasingly inferior to other systems nationally and internationally. This results in transit deserts statewide in an increasingly urbanizing state, a lack of opportunity for our most vulnerable communities, and an unignorable lack of equity from one neighborhood to the next. Whereas other transit systems have contactless fare options for years, NJ Transit still operates on antiquated ticket systems. Whereas other transit systems allow riders to transfer between transit systems and agencies seamlessly, NJ Transit fares still don't allow transfers to other transit systems, even and within the NJ Transit system, but beyond one fare zone. Whereas other systems throughout the world have clean, safe, modern, low-emission vehicles operating on dedicated bus lanes, in New Jersey, we simply don't have these. We need our state officials to invest in our transit systems for equity, justice, the health of our communities, and to address climate change. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from William Ritzler. William, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you and good evening. I am the Transportation Committee Chairman of the Tri-County Sustainability Organization. New Jersey Transit has scheduled public hearings for receiving public input on a proposed fare adjustment. If implemented, this adjustment will result in an immediate increase of 15% with automatic increases of 3% in future years. The amount of the increase will financially impact ridership in a noticeable and substantive manner. All of the currently scheduled fare adjustment public hearings require those seeking to provide comments to attend in person. Many of the meetings are scheduled for a time and place that many New Jersey Transit riders, myself included, will find inconvenient to attend. A virtual hearing option is the solution. New Jersey Transit is offering stakeholders the opportunity to submit comments in writing. While this provides a pathway for engaged stakeholders to provide feedback, written comments rarely have the same impact as content that is delivered verbally. In the more than 3 decades during which I have been associated with organized public transportation advocacy, my observation is that written testimony is less effective at creating significant change in public policy. I have, however, witnessed the power of testimony delivered personally at meetings by passionate citizens seeking to shape policy for the benefit of the people. New Jersey Transit is remiss in not offering the riding public the greatest possible opportunity to provide feedback regarding this potentially very significant impact to their personal finances. New Jersey Transit must act to expand access to the largest possible number of engaged stakeholders to demonstrate a genuine commitment to inclusivity and transparency. Asking riders to bear the financial burden created by the lack of a dedicated funding source, especially without facilitating the maximum opportunity to provide public feedback, is unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Vito Havria. Vito, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, I'm Vito Havrilla. I am the Vice Chair of the Lackawanna Coalition, and I will be reading from our statement for the board. So, what's on everybody's mind? Fares and a costly headquarters lease. We find ourselves in an awkward, confusing position. We know how serious the financial situation in which New Jersey Transit finds itself. So from that perspective, we find the need for a fare increase. However, the agency is more and less than stretched seats in finance. It serves riders who find the 15% increase difficult, is irresponsible enough to look at a consultant's report showing that leasing headquarters space will save money now, but create a massive expense after the first years and go ahead with the lease anyway. Did staff even consider spreading renovations over more than 6 years, lower the annual cost now, delaying start a couple years, or not adding $54 million, more than 10% to the $440 million lease, just for moving expenses, with Kevin Corbett saying to reporters, "We're not sure it makes more sense to buy or lease new furniture. Most of us move our old furniture with us, especially when we must stretch to meet higher rent payments." We'll be making more detailed comments at the public hearings, but don't forget that $300,000 plus annually for 125 parking spaces with 44 NJT's cost. That's a lot. That is 20% bus fare increase, 20-cent bus fare increases that could be avoided. Adjusting pricing, complex question for us, which we will address this later. Commissioner, for years, the Lackawanna Coalition has believed that the state transportation system is not well served. Commissioner, being head of Highways and Transit, although the systems need to work together, we know that the state resources are not limited. Roads and rails and buses wind up competing for their share of state transportation money and federal funding as well. Motorists and car culture dominate the culture as much here and other parts of the country. I'll just remind everybody that at the end of the month, on Monday the 26th, we are having our monthly meeting in Millburn, New Jersey. Go to LackawannaCoalition.org for more details. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Ken Sevener. Ken, your line is live and your time will begin now.
That's Tim Sevener, T-I-M, Sevener, from the Transit Village in Mount Tabor, and a board member of the New Jersey Association of Rail Passengers. I want to congratulate Francis O'Connor. I hope he does have some background in public transit, although it doesn't seem very prominent in his resume. I'd like to commend the New Jersey Transit for finally canceling the transit grid, although they lost a wonderful opportunity to actually have solar renewable rail. I don't know what they're doing about solar. It doesn't seem to be included in a lot of the plans for these station upgrades, and it should be a default. Also, on the FIFA, the transitway is not really a good idea as the way to do it. This is not a permanent improvement. What we need is like light rail. And you're going to use part of the Essex-Hudson Greenway for that transitway. That transitway, the Essex-Hudson Greenway should be light rail. This would be the future after the FIFA games, of course. Plus a trail is possible. Another issue is as far as funding. An untapped source of revenue. I agree that they should increase the corporate tax and dedicate that to New Jersey Transit, but there's other sources of revenue. Washington, D.C. has imposed 7 times the vehicle registration fees based on the weight of the vehicle. The bigger the vehicle, the bigger the stress on the roads, and the bigger chances of accidents. If somebody, an SUV hits somebody, it's way worse than if a small car hits somebody. Another source of revenue that should be considered is private jets. Private jets have increased enormously. Apparently, NPR said there were 7,000 jets going to the Super Bowl. That's just ridiculous. And it turns out that Teterboro is the biggest source of private jets in the United States. Those should be taxed or fees raised for private jets, and that money goes to transit. Private jets are flown by the richest people and who can easily afford increased fees for the private jets, which are the worst form of transportation there is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Richard Grant. Richard, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Richard Grant, Hackensack. If I comment by phone now on the fare increase, I am using a virtual option. I do agree with every previous speaker on the fare increase, but another topic needs attention forthwith, the board and sustainability. The dispute over the planned gas plant-powered microgrid had two positive outcomes, that NJ Transit would create and update a sustainability plan, and that a board energy and sustainability policy committee would be created. The committee agenda reveals that the final sustainability plan was first scheduled for release by year-end 2023 and then changed to sometime this January. Nothing mentioned tonight. The committee, previously of 3 members, has lost board members Gordon and Dusty. Under the 2018 NJ Transit Reform Bill, SB 630, board members are required to understand the implementation of NJ Transit's fundamental financial and management controls and operational decisions, and certain classes of board members must have particular experience or professional backgrounds. The Energy and Sustainability Policy Committee, however, has no statutory or board-imposed requirements for any sustainability expertise or experience, or even interest or curiosity. If you listen to the audio recordings of the committee meetings, it is not an easy task to determine whether every board member who has ever served on it has reported to the board or to President Corbett. The committee meets less often than most other board committees, 4 times a year. Its agenda is set by New Jersey Transit managers with no visible committee member input. There's never been any discussion of developments at U.S. and foreign peer transit agencies. Substantive questions are rare. By any observable measure, strong committee oversight is not being practiced.
1 minute.
In President Corbett's board reports, a pre-sustainability plan, station upgrading has sounded less like an all-hands-on-deck effort to reduce greenhouse gas emissions than station-by-station decisions on which few sustainability-related changes should be included with all the other ones. Maybe you have already been instructed or advised or have decided to shut down the Energy and Sustainability Policy Committee and transfer its work or not to another committee, or to not fill the vacant positions, or to have it meet less often, or to reduce the committee's public comment time further. But if Governor Murphy isn't set on having the Board of Public Utilities do all the sustainability heavy lifting while utilizing NJ Transit as a specialized economic development agency that feeds more old school projects to construction companies and union locals, then you can act to have NJ Transit step up to do its full share to implement the green pledges and promises the governor made to New Jersey residents. As board.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Matthew Walsh. Matthew, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Walsh. I'm a volunteer member and member of the Board of Directors of the New Jersey Association of Railroad Passengers. I thank the President and the Board of Directors for the opportunity to speak. First of all, I'd like to commend previous speakers on their opposition to turnpike lane expansion as well as the transit deserts and redeveloping inner ring suburbs here in New Jersey. And also I'd like to commend my colleague Tim Sevener on how we could utilize the Garden State Greenway more effectively, including public transit, along with trails. In other words, trails with rails, not rails to trails, trails with rails. By doing this, we obviate the need for more turnpike lanes. Now, how does this happen? Well, the trail goes from Montclair to Jersey City. It traverses developing inner ring suburbs, such as North Newark. You can see apartments going up all over there. North Arlington, Kearney. There's apartments, yet there's no transit. Now, if right now it's currently constructed by the governor and fully financed, the trail, the Garden State Greenway, it only makes provision for bus rapid transit. Bus rapid transit makes no sense. Bus rapid transit is for developing nations or rural areas coming up. New Jersey is highly developed. Our biggest problem is that we investigated our transit network in the 50s to the 70s. What we need to do is connect the Newark Light Rail with the Hudson-Bergen Light Rail with another light rail transit. We can do it. The Hudson-Bergen line has enough room for a single track light rail transit with an occasional side track for passing. We have enough room. The bus rapid transit specification needs to go. We need sustainable transportation. Light rail transit included would also not only service these underutilized transit deserts, New Jersey could purchase light rail vehicles at a discount, a volume discount, so we'd have a seamless network of light rail transit from Montclair, the Newark Light Rail, Hudson-Bergen Light Rail, and exactly where the turnpike expansion is supposed to begin is where the light rail transit, that exact point, could be connected to Newport. And that would provide even more service going south, paralleling the turnpike. People would take the train. We don't need more cars. We don't need that turnpike lane. We need more trains. We need more public transit. The turnpike lanes are an investment in yesterday's tomorrow. We need a 21st century light rail transit system. That's the future. Turnpikes is yesterday's tomorrow. Turnpike lanes and cars, that's yesterday's tomorrow. That's not for a modern state like New Jersey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Sally Geller. Sally, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Hi, good evening. Sally Jen Geller, chairperson of the Lackawanna Coalition, picking up where Vito Havrilla left off. Congestion pricing is a complex question, particularly for me as a Bergen County resident and an environmentalist. In theory, I support congestion pricing as a way to limit traffic and its resultant pollution, but only if the plan is carefully designed to address the potential for increasing traffic elsewhere. The funds are used for environmental projects. Economic justice is addressed for all members of the community, regardless of political borders, in this case, low-income residents of each state, and all parties involved are part of the planning process. At least some of these factors are missing, and our politicians are starting lawsuits instead of having been part of the process from the beginning. Our governor could be encouraging folks to avoid the tolls by using transit, but instead the ongoing conflict between states is ramped up. Once again, residents, motorists, and transit riders alike are left in the lurch. Riders deserve better. The Lackawanna Coalition approved a resolution on the subject at our January meeting, which has been published. Commissioner, for years the transit and highways need separate representatives. Federal funds, state funds, they each need an advocate. Transit especially. Motorists get lots of voice. We transit riders do not. As far as the customer advocate goes, we note with interest and a bit of dismay that legislation that would create a customer advocate commission of 3 appointed members. We know that there are those who applied, as someone said earlier, 4 years ago, and were accepted to work with a New Jersey Transit customer advocate. They're eager to get started. We see this commission is outside the hierarchy, which is okay, but a trio appointed by political insiders making reports to the legislature but not to the public is not a model that gives us much hope for truly improving transparency and customer service at the agency. We continue to see large settlements with employees for harassment, yet you tell me this is the greatest place to work. I'm confused. We keep arguing for more transparency, encourage you to find a real dedication to running a high-quality professional transit agency. As others have said, we support finding funding for NJ Transit outside of fare increase, and we expect the board to advocate with us. As a Scattertack Vice Chairperson, I enjoyed the good feelings of the 40th anniversary commemoration, and if that continues, we can do a lot for our constituents. However, without active staff support, progress will be difficult or impossible, so we're looking forward to a good working relationship. We'll let you know how it's going.
15 seconds.
Yes, okay, let it go there. Oh, the $300,000 annual cost for 125 parking lots. Picture that in 20-cent increments. How many bus fare increases could you avoid by not paying for extra parking spaces? Not to mention the entire headquarters. Thank you.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Maddie Bucky's Highland. Maddie, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Maddie W. Bucky's Highland. I want to speak tonight about various topics. The first topic is I want to congratulate Fran O'Connor for the chairmanship for the New Jersey Transit Corporation for the time being until a permanent commissioner is established. He'll also be the chairman for the New Jersey Turnpike Authority and the South Jersey Transportation Authority. The second thing I'm going to talk about is the fares. Fares have not been increased since 2015. At the time, the governor was Chris Christie, lieutenant governor was Kim Guadagno, the board chairman was Jamie Foxx, and the executive director was Ronnie Haycom. I would like to put those names into the record. Fares increased by 15%. That could be a little bit too much. I would maybe subside, but that's ultimately up to the commissioners to decide what is best for them. And the last topic I want to talk about is I spoke at this last year at the Metropolitan Transportation Authority board meeting. I was going to speak at the December board meeting, but I couldn't, is that we need to expand the Staten Island Railway from Tottenville, New York to Perth Amboy, New Jersey as an alternative route for people who live on Staten Island to pay, instead of paying the toll on the Outer Bridge crossing, to pay $2.90 for that. I would hope that New Jersey Transit Corp will work with the Metropolitan Transportation Authority on this thing to expand and improve access for the transit. Thank you. God bless you and have a good night. Mr. Operator?
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Jason Anthony. Jason, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Good evening, Kevin Corbett and board members. Jason Anthony here from the Long Island Railroad's 88 Task Force. A couple of concerns starting the new year for board member Shantinero. One is it that New Jersey Transit Corporation in its subsidiaries is going to have a customer service advocate, because it has been over 5 years since Stuart Mader left and nothing yet. And last month, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, better known as the MTA, made permanent Shanifa Rivera permanent in her position, and nothing yet in the west of Hudson side. And I wonder when the governor of the Garden State, Phil Murphy, is going to speak in the board meetings, because within the last year, New York Governor Kathy Hochul has spoken in the board meetings at least twice. And we won't want to see New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy addressing the full board. And we will want to see New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy settle the lawsuit with New York, because we are desperate to modernize our system here in New York, because due to New Jersey's lack of cooperation the modernization of the signals on the Fulton Street line, elevators that are needed to be replaced, and New Jersey's lack of ahead of technology. We will have to speak by phone instead of speaking via Zoom. So please settle the lawsuit, and please, instead of having in-person fair hearings, please let us here in New York be able to speak virtually via Zoom regarding the fair hearing, because you guys waited too long to have the fair increases. So please, let us New Yorkers have our voice heard. So thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Delvin Bradford. Delvin, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Yes, hello. My name is Delvin Bradford. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The only thing I gotta say is it is unfair for us as commuters, travelers, and riders to pay extra for the fare. And like all of this was said, please decline the New Jersey Turnpike free and anything, because nobody needs that. And on top of it, I wanted to say that y'all basically losing riders because y'all doing this fare hike and the service is unreliable because of what's going on. That's why most people that travel from Philadelphia to New York, they'll barely take steps to trying to NJC to New York City because hour 2 hour gap. Most people say Amtrak, Greyhound, Peter Pan, Flix, and the Chinese bus and the Megabus because they're all reliable and it's faster and shorter and they work like clockwork. Meanwhile, y'all need to try to work on have your voices heard, like everybody said, and on top of it, have your damn voice heard, and on top of it, and decline the proposal for the Jersey Turnpike project. Use that money for y'all, so you won't have to deal with the fare hike thing. You won't deal with the fare hike. That's what I gotta say. And any way y'all can extend bring back the New York City to AC rail line, if it's possible, because during the summer, traffic is horrible on the Jersey Turnpike and the Garden State Parkway. It's best if y'all restore the service for the summer to reduce less traffic and have train service running on weekends so people can go to New York City to AC round trip so they won't have to drive or waste gas. Gas prices are high. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Thank you. The next public comment is coming from Michael McGettigan. Michael, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Yes, hello. My name is Michael McGettigan. I am a lifelong Philadelphian. I use New Jersey Transit to get from Trenton to New York City after taking SEPTA. I use it to get to the shore south of Atlantic City by bus and also the Atlantic City rail line. I want to say there's a couple things that I think that I'd like to submit as givens. One, it's clear that the corporate tax is central to New Jersey Transit's revenue problems. You can't balance your budget trying to squeeze some more money out of rider wallets, and you have to face that reality, and you have to get that tax back and get back proper sources of funding and not try and shake down your passengers. We don't have it. We're among the poorest people in New Jersey and Philadelphia. Number two, we've had a 3-year crash course in how to do Zoom, so we New Jersey Transit customers should not have to beg for you to set up virtual hearings. Go find a couple of 25-year-olds from your local community college who do AV and set that stuff up and get a Zoom. Don't even pretend that it's difficult to do. 3, the New Jersey Turnpike widening, we know it's futile. All it's going to do is move a traffic bottleneck a few miles east at enormous cost. That would be bad enough, but it stinks. It is obviously corruption. The people that have come forth with editorials next to Governor Murphy are all people who stand to make a ton of money off it. And this is going to hurt Democrats with young, environmentally minded voters during a presidential election. You got to pull the plug on this. It really makes Governor Murphy look dirty. Okay, now I'm going to talk to my personal experience. Because Amtrak has cut trains after 8:30 p.m., a huge number of passengers are now transferring to New Jersey Transit and trying to use SEPTA to get back to Philly or vice versa. If you have been in the Trenton Transportation Center after 9 p.m., it is frightening. They have abandoned the station to a variety of people with problems who need help, but they're not going to find it at the station. Your own New Jersey Transit staffers, particularly women, Stick together in groups because the station is so crowded, so frightening. Number two, if you have taken either New Jersey Transit train to the shore points or the bus, you would realize how slow, how infrequent, and how poorly set up it is. It is really time for the board to taste the food, as so to speak, the experience that you're preparing and expecting us riders to have. You need to taste the meals that you're making. Please do so, and please go after proper funding and stop spending it on pipe dreams like transit widening and so on and so forth. Help South Jersey's only rail line and fund it properly. Make it run every hour at least. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Your next public comment is coming from Jimmy Lee. Jimmy, your line is live and your time will begin now.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jimmy Lee, and I'm a resident of Jersey City and a regular rider of New Jersey Transit buses, light rail, and trains. Thank you for the opportunity to comment virtually today. The last time I dialed in, I called out the pollution and wastefulness of the proposed $10.7 billion widening of the I-78 Turnpike extension, the harms to our community when it comes to air pollution, the complete contradiction to our state's climate goals, and importantly, the road dangers that additional traffic will cause, not just on the turnpike itself, but on our regional and local roadways. While that terrible project was not the fault of New Jersey Transit, as I said then and I say again, New Jersey Transit was and is not the villain in this story, but very much has the opportunity here to be the hero. I echoed the asks of many other riders in asking for increased bus frequency and other service improvements and investments in transit that would be cleaner, faster, and cheaper than continuing to suffocate the Garden State with more asphalt and more congestion. So I want to say thank you for all of the bus frequency improvements in Hudson County and say that they are making a big difference here. As an example of that, when I take the 119 on weekends, even after doubling frequency, I see the bus is still full, and there continues to be demand for more frequent and more reliable bus service. If you build it, they will come. I also want to thank New Jersey Transit for stepping in to save the hugely important A&C bus lines in Jersey City. These provide a critical service for students getting to school, to senior citizens buying groceries and running errands. I am also thankful for the cancellation of the transit grid gas power plant. Running the gas power plant frequently would have caused additional pollution in environmental justice communities. I'm happy there was a way to redirect those important funds to much-needed resiliency projects. I want to mention a few opportunities for improved service. I want to ask for an update on the Hudson County bus network redesign. Lines haven't been redesigned since the streetcar era and is sorely needed. I also want to ask that you consider merging the Bus 10 and Bus 88 bus lines. Bus 10 runs from the southern tip of Hudson County to Journal Square, and Bus 88 from Journal Square to the northern tip of Hudson County. But just for the bus to turn around, it wraps around long blocks of Journal Square and wastes riders 10 minutes to actually head into the bus station. A lot of riders instead are forced to get off early and walk instead. I want to also ask that you look into doubling Bus 9 service, a former A&C bus line. It's absolutely packed. There are no other good ways to travel east-west by transit in Jersey City. The looming $1 billion budget deficit threatens all the great progress that New Jersey Transit has made so far and the ability to make so many other needed improvements. We ask for your help in advocating for a dedicated funding source. I echo all previous comments advocating for softening the fare hikes and moreover ask for a fair fares program similar to the MTA that provides heavily discounted fares for low-income riders. Last, I also want to ask that we cancel the $10.7 billion Turnpike project and redirect all of those funds to New Jersey Transit for much-needed projects instead. Thank you.
Thank you. And there are no further participants in the public comment queue at this time.
Thank you, public speakers. Are there any board member comments? Board member?
If I may, real quick, I just want to acknowledge the speakers and say, I value, respect their feedback, and I'm looking forward to working with the board to address a lot of those concerns.
Thank you. Board member Nara?
Yes, thank you, Megan. So a number of people asked about the customer advocate, and I am thrilled to be able to give an update. So contrary to rumors people have heard, the process has been ongoing. I can't begin to quantify the number of applications that came in after we revised the job description in an effort to get some better applications. Even the second application description netted thousands of applications. And I really want to thank staff, administration, especially people from Human Resources who did extraordinary work to go through all the applications and conduct interviews with people that they felt met the basic requirements. And I am very proud to announce that the search has been narrowed down to 3 individuals who were vetted by members of administration and staff. And now we are on almost the last phase of the process. Those 3 individuals will be going through an interview process with 3 board members, myself, Board Member Brown, and Board Member Vice Chair, Board Member Carson. And those, we are hoping to schedule those very shortly, and I mean very shortly, and so that we can move this process along and hopefully have a customer advocate in the job sooner than most people would expect at this point. And in conjunction with that, Sarah Jane Gellert had raised an issue about the current proposed legislation to deal with the customer advocate situation. And I'm just going to echo her point. I'm not in favor of it either. I don't think having a 3-person commission is going to be workable, and I don't think it's going to address the concerns that riders will have. So that's my personal opinion. I'm not going to speak for the rest of the board on that issue. I do also want to address just a couple things that actually came out with the last couple speakers. And if I've mispronounced your names, I'm sorry. Michael Megadin, you made a comment about the Trenton Transportation Center and considering it to be unsafe after 9. So I guess we'll just ask members of staff and Chief Trusillo to give us an update on what's going on there. And also Jimmy Lee, who just spoke about specific issues related to Hudson County and the bus redesign, and Bus 10 and Bus 88, as well as doubling Bus 9. I guess I'd also ask staff if they could just give us some update in the coming weeks regarding that situation. And the final thing I will comment on is, and once again, this is me speaking personally as a board member, but I am a bus rider. I commute from Central Jersey, from the true heart of Central Jersey, East Brunswick, to downtown Manhattan. And I ride a private carrier. The private carrier runs that line. But I'll say this, where New Jersey Transit goes with fare hikes, the private carriers are too. So it is very much a concern, not only to myself and all my fellow passengers, but to everybody I know. So I hear everyone's concerns, and please be aware that each and every one of us who sits on this board, we live here, we pay taxes just like you all, and how this agency goes forward is a paramount concern for all of us, and especially for those of us who also, an added piece is for those of us who do commute. So please understand that we do hear you, and we appreciate your comments here, and whatever comments that are made at the public hearings, we'll all be attending several of them, and whatever comments get sent in writing, I don't know if people notice, and you don't have to, but I take notes. That's how I remember comments. I remember people. I'm planning on taking notes at those public hearings, and even my colleagues who don't. We all take in what you all say. Maybe they all might have better memories than I do, which is why I'm writing things down. But your comments are much appreciated. Thank you. That's all. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. Are there any additional board member comments? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, are you going to address the issue of your background?
Sir, the comment period is over. Please have a seat. Thank you. The board is not compelled to, they're not compelled to answer questions. You have your comment period. They can choose to if they want to.
Okay, we'll move on to committee reports.
Board Member Cruz will present the Operations and Customer Service Committee report.
The Operations and Customer Service Committee received an update on trends, analysis, and actions for rail, bus, light rail, and Access Link. The committee also received an update on the cost of service. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Morocco will present the Administration Committee report.
The Administration Committee received a financial update. This included a summary of operating results compared to previous year's comparable period and fiscal year 24 budget, 12-month fare box revenue compared to pre-COVID, major balance sheet items, and federal COVID-19 relief grant drawdown summary. Additional information was provided as part of the agenda materials, including the cost of service key performance indicators, 12-month fare box recovery, history of vacancies, attritions, and hires, ridership and revenue, and a monthly budget to actual comparison for December 2023. The committee also received updates from Human Resources and Equal Employment Opportunity and Affirmative Action. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Board Member Wise will present the Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee report.
Thank you, Chair. The Capital Planning, Policy, and Privatization Committee, discussed the board item for the 149 passenger ferry vessel Alberto of Carteret amendment. That concludes my report.
Thank you. President and CEO Corbett will present the action items.
Great, thank you, Chair. I'd like to kick off with by introducing Mike Kilcoyne, Senior Vice President, Service Transit and General Manager of Bus Operations, present board item 2402-01 regarding ferry passenger vessel. Mike?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2402-01, a 149 passenger ferry vessel for the Borough of Carteret amendment. Authorization is requested to enter into a contract with Hornblower Yachts, LLC of San Francisco, California for the construction of a 149 passenger ferry vessel at a cost to New Jersey Transit not to exceed $11,791,500, including administrative costs, subject to the availability of funds. The Borough of Carteret is responsible for all additional funding for the completion of the project. We ask for your approval of item 2402-01.
May I have a motion to approve board item 2402-01?
Motion, Nara.
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Board Secretary, please take a roll call.
Roll call vote. Board Member Abrantes?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Kaniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great, thank you. I'd now like to introduce Frank Savino, Acting Auditor General, to present board item 2402-02 regarding the annual audit services. Frank?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item 2402-02, annual independent audit services for fiscal years 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, and 2028. Authorization is requested to enter into a contract with Deloitte & Touche LLP, Deloitte, of Morristown, New Jersey, to provide independent auditing services for fiscal years 2024, 2025, and 2026, with New Jersey Transit having the sole discretion to extend the contract for 2 additional one-year periods, fiscal years 2027 and 2028. Under the contract, New Jersey Transit will also have the sole discretion to retain Deloitte to provide the optional services of 3 quarterly reviews of New Jersey Transit's results of operations for the quarters ending September 30th, 2028, December 31st, 2028, and March 31, 2029. Total value of this authorization for the 5-year period and the 3 quarterly reviews after June 30th, 2028 is $3,334,055, subject to the availability of funds. Authorization is also requested to contract with Deloitte to provide supplemental audit or other services during the contract period on an as-needed basis at a cost not to exceed $250,000 per fiscal year, subject to the availability of funds. We ask for your approval of item 2402-02.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2402-02?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Board Secretary, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Abrantes?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Kaniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carried. For the record, Board Member Medina is recused from the next item and will not comment or vote on the item.
Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Banu Thomas, Senior Vice President and Chief Administration Officer, to present Board Item 2402-03 regarding medical and prescription benefits. No?
Thank you, President Corbett. We are presenting for approval item number 2402-03, Medical and Prescription Benefits Administration Contract, 6 months extension of contract number 17-030RA and number 17-030RC. Authorization is requested to extend New Jersey Transit's contracts with its current medical benefits provider, Horizon Blue Cross and Blue Shield of New Jersey, and current prescription provider, Express Scripts, Incorporated of St. Louis, Missouri, at the current bill rate for each for a period of 6 months to begin July 1st, 2024, and end December 31st, 2024. The total cost for this change order is not to exceed $2,250,000 for medical benefits and not to exceed $1,825,000 for prescription benefits. We ask for your approval of item number 2402-03.
May I have a motion to approve Board Item 2402-03?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Board Secretary, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Abrantes?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Kaniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Vote on the consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Board Secretary, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Abrantes?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Kaniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Before we adjourn to executive session, I want to let the public know we will return to adjourn the meeting, but no further business will be conducted. May I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personal matters, contract negotiations, the status of pending and anticipated litigations, and matters falling within the attorney-client privilege, including but not limited to the personal injury claim of Sonata Ludano and the personal injury claim of Sandra Holmes. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
Motion.
Any discussion? Madam Board Secretary, please take a roll call vote.
Roll call vote, Board Member Abrantes?
Yes.
Board Member Morocco?
Yes.
Board Member Medina?
Yes.
Board Member Nara?
Yes.
Board Member Weiss?
Yes.
Board Member Kaniff?
Yes.
Board Member Cruz?
Yes.
Chair O'Connor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I hereby reconvene the open session board meetings.
I will now take a roll call. Board Member Abrantes?
Here.
Board Member Morocco?
Here.
Board Member Medina?
Here.
Board Member Nara?
Here.
Board Member Weiss?
Here.
Board Member Kaniff?
Here.
Board Member Cruz?
Here.
Chair O'Connor?
Here. Since there's no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, congratulations. I just said, what's tomorrow?
Remember one football game when Joe named it?